Here we have a side lens for a Estima TCR21, also fits the TCR10, has the amber insert for an indicator, has the clear lens on the top with no reflector on the inside for Parker or clearance light, and also a side indicator light here. So that's the fitting there for the three different lights. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into a driving light and indicator by removing that orange insert. To do so, there's two ways. One way is you can heat it in the oven up to, I believe it's about 70 degrees. Heat the lens up, and then you can take the front cover off to remove that lens. I have tried that with other lenses and I have been unsuccessful, so I'm not even going to be bothered to put lenses in the oven anymore. I've seen other people have success on YouTube, but I have not. So here we go, we've got that orange insert. We need to remove that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a soldering iron, and I'm going to first get that end dome part off into two different pieces. So I need to put a slice down the middle and slowly work around one side at a time to get them into small enough pieces that will fit through the light socket hole to get it back out. I did not notice this straight away, but before I get started, don't know if you can see it in here either, so I'll just turn the light on. And we'll do that. Okay, so now you see that burnt section of the amber insert? That's actually sagged down probably about yeah, easy 4 mil. That's from having a standard globe in there, and it's generated too much heat. And if this was to continue with having standard globes in it, that would continue to melt, and eventually it'll become a mess in there. So it's a good thing that we're doing this now. Zoom in on it there. So what happens when you put well, that's generally what happens when you put lights that are too bright, but that's not what's happened here, because it's being that it's an indicator, the light would have been flashing. So this is from a failed relay, and the blinker light just stays on, so it's generating too much heat because the relay is not allowing the blinker slash indicator to do its job, and it's generated too much heat in there. So I'll move on to getting this insert out. How I've used the iron to just poke holes in there. I'm just going to keep doing that until I can run the iron through all them holes to make one big line, and then I'll work around the sides. Let's see how I've worked that out there. Now I'll be able to, while it's still hot, I'll be able to push a screwdriver in there and pop that out. While I'm talking right now, it's cooling down, so I might not be able to do it right straight away. I'll have to just get the iron in there and just heat it up a little bit more in there and pop that side out, and then I'll do the same to the other side. Okay, that's one side that's just about to fall off. Just going to let that cool down first before I pop it the rest of the way off. We don't want hot plastic touching the front plastic lens and getting stuck anywhere else, so that's important to, you know, just be mindful of. You don't want to go heating up plastic and making liquid plastic inside there. You're just going to bugger up the rest of the lens. So you just got to take your time with this, a little bit at a time, and be careful from the surroundings as well of the socket here, because the iron itself, my iron goes past this point, so I'm okay with that, but some irons are longer than mine, and You might touch the sides here and melt the around here as well, so just be mindful of that as well. This whole process is, you just got to take your time, be mindful, and yeah, get it done. Okay, so you can see I've got that section popped off now, and you can see it's hanging loose in the lens itself. It's not causing any damage in there. Now with this section, let me get this on it. See how I've put a slice along there. I need to make some weak points so I can get in there for screwdriver. I need to now crack this lens, the insert, into 4 pieces, and using a long pair of pliers, pointing nose pliers, I'm going to have to hold the lens like so to get the plastics, the bits of plastic to come down to where the socket part is, and reach in and get them out. And I don't have anything here or somebody else here to help me, so I can show you how I'm doing it while I'm doing it. So you're just going to have to appreciate that, and just take the stages that I'm showing is bit by bit. I think it's pretty well self-explanatory anyway, so I'll get on with it. Okay, I'm just going to film a little bit here like this, so you can see I'm not polite with it. If you do want to get it out, the main focus here is you don't want the screwdriver to hit the inside of this, the outer clear plastic, because we don't want to damage that. That's part of the looks of the vehicle. So when you're working on this, just make sure you move the screwdriver away from, I keep the screwdriver away from that section. And just work this out. And this is where you got to be a little bit creative yourself. I mean, like, you just can't watch a video and think, oh yeah, I can do that. And like, you could run into a problem that I don't have, and if that happens, then you can't come back to my video and say, look, it didn't work for me, what do I do? Because this is really something that is you take under your own what would you say, at your own risk. You know, you just got to work with this. I'm applying a little bit more heat to this here because I need to get the screwdriver through that part of the crack, and you just got to work with it, you know. So what's happened to me right now is, while I'm trying to work this loose, the whole insert has fallen in, and it's not a big drama. It's just, it's a little bit more of a tackle. So now I have to get the whole thing to this hole, and I'm going to use the pliers, the pointing nose pliers, to try and break it and get it out from where it is at the moment. Another thing to watch out for, or to be mindful of before you even start, is you need to be in a ventilated area, because this stuff really stinks. But all I can do now is get this plastic, and because I've cut it in all those edges, I can now wind it around like so, and just keep working with this. And see, I'm slowly getting it out. And that's it, like that. You use your imagination. If you're going to tackle this job, you really got to just use your imagination, work with it, because that happens, it pops back in, then you got to get it again, and just keep working with it. It wasn't too hard to get it back, and then I lost it again. It's almost at the point I have to pull it all out by hand. See what I mean? You don't want to put anything in there like so and get that lens on this side. You can see the screwdriver there. No, you don't want to do that. Okay, I've got more than half of it out now, so nearly finished. It's kind of like getting money out of a money box, you know. And there's the next bit. So I just keep doing that. That's all out now. And I did minimum damage to the socket here when I got the iron a bit closer to the edges. There's a little bit of, tiny bit of damage there, tiny bit of damage there, but it's not going to affect the socket going in. So yeah, this is all on you guys. If anybody wants to try this, don't come back to me. Alright, so that's that part there taken care of, and this is the mess that you're left with afterwards. It's a one-way ticket, man. Once you do this, you're not going back. So I don't have the harness to wire up the 3 bulbs, but I can show you it's in action just with that one bulb there. So here is the switchback globe, and you can see I've painted over the white on the sides. You don't have to do this. The reason why I'm doing this is because I find that there's too much glare around the on the outside around this section here, and that could interrupt with other drivers, and with Australian regulations that wouldn't be legal. So by doing this, I've taken away the glare, and the light is focused mainly to the front and not to the side, just for the white light. However, for the amber, the whole lens lights up. You can't say that you didn't see it, because it's quite bright. Now, the perfect globe for this type of setup would be if all the side ones were amber and all the front lights were white. That would be the perfect globe for this type of thing. Doesn't exist at the moment. Maybe one day, who knows. So with the wiring, the white wire of the black trace is your earth. Now I've got this solid wired. Now I will change this in time to have a couple of connectors, because again, depending on who you bought this from or what batch it was made from, the wiring on it could be, you know, the 2 active wires could be switched around. Those 2 green wires there could be the other way around. One way might be one time one way might be a blinker, and the next time you bought this bulb, it could be switched the other way around. So that's something that you really, when you're wiring it up, the white with black trace can be a solid connection, but the other 2, just put some connectors in there so you can just switch the wires around according to what bulb you got. So I can't hold this together for a second, so I'm just going to put the camera down. Okay, so that's in place there. Now that's the light socket fitting is just a tail brake light socket. So that's all you need to get for this section here. Get this out for a second. Now, at the worst, if this socket doesn't fit in, you might have to trim over this, or make an extra hole, an extra gap on there to make it fit properly, but I don't need to with this one. Okay, so now I'll put all this back together and show you. So as you can see, as an indicator, that's quite bright. You can't say that you didn't see it. And now you have, that's just the daytime driving light, or daytime running light if you wish. The glare is not coming sideways, because I've painted over those lights, although you can see that there is still a little bit of light getting past that paint. That paint is doing its job. You don't have to do this. That's what I did to overcome the glare on the sides. And yeah, so all that light's shining forward, and with the blinker on, you can see, or indicator on, you can see it doesn't flash white, it only indicates. And when I stop indicating, then back to daytime driving light. That's exactly how it's supposed to function for Australian standards, to be legal under Australian designer rules. Different parts of the world, different rules, but for here, that is what makes it legal. If it was to flash white, then it would be illegal, which I found out not too long ago, because mine did flash white. And this makes it perfectly fine. There's no laws against having the clear lens as a daytime driving light, and as long as it applies, as long as the rules of indication is hasn't been modified, then it's under the Australian designer rules that it is perfectly fine. I did speak to the tech guys from the department about that, and they said that some places may not agree with that, and they're probably not going to call the RTA technicians either. So to clarify that, so to go to your guy for registration or something, you could probably get a certificate showing that it does comply with the Australian designer rules. My tech guy over here passed me not a problem with lights like this, so that's the way I'm going to keep them. So once again, thanks for watching, guys, and I do have another video that's got my other lights flashing both amber and white, and that other video is, well, basically having the lights set up like that is wrong. This is the way it should be. No white light flashing, and it can't be too bright when it is a daytime driving light, to not glare other cars. Forwards is fine, not to the sides. Alright, again, thanks guys, cheers.